One day we'll have intro music, but like, not today.
Hi, I'm Elanor.
And I'm Kalina.
And welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we do whatever we want.
Where we
kind
of talk, I think, is we should just cut off the last half.
Yeah, you know what? That's perfect because I only half know how to talk, and you only half get an opportunity to talk.
So yeah, welcome to Don't Quote Me on That, where we kind of talk. Today we're going to be kind of talking about, you guessed it, not a movie, and also not an album, and also nothing media related.
Again, they have a movie. It's okay.
I would use the word movie in the loosest sense of the term, though.
I'm sorry, are documentaries not movies?
And they do have.
Did I miss that?
Anyway,
did I go to film school for 4 years and miss that a documentary doesn't count?
True. To be fair, I only went for 3 years, so I might have missed something there.
Exactly. I did technically also only go to 3 years with the slight mental breakdown break. But, you know, I have to have a story to tell. On paper, I went for 3.5, actually. Anyway, not the point. Not the point. I have my little llama notebook.
I can see it. Yep.
I held it that long so Kalina could take a screenshot and use it for things later because I don't remember to take photos for myself.
Yeah, I am gonna remember that later. Yeah, we don't. Every photo I use nowadays is either a photo from us the last time we were in Ireland together, or I just screenshot something off of one of our episodes. That's not great.
It's better than nothing. Sometimes.
Unless you all want to see my Snapchat photos, they're not good. They're so bad.
Kalina and I have decided that, Kalina said this once as a joke, and I've decided that instead of actual content, we should just screen record all the Snapchats we send each other.
Yeah, we're funny. We're so
We
funny.
are.
The problem is we're this is us filtered, believe it or not. So unfiltered us would get canceled real quick.
It would. I think we'd last a little bit before we got canceled, but I think people would.
I don't think it would take a lot, though.
We would have to get a wellness check, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes you more than me, which I think is not what people were expecting.
Why do I need a wellness check? What's wrong with me? I'm fine.
That Snapchat I accidentally screenshotted about killing yourself.
I do not endorse that. That doesn't sound like something I would say. I'm okay.
Anyway, today, because either Kalina just really loves me or Kalina couldn't be bothered to think of a topic, I'm gonna go with the first one because it makes me feel better. We will be discussing my favorite One Direction scandals.
For those of you who don't know, because I think this surprises people if we haven't, and I don't think we brought it up already. Elanor loves One Direction, and when I tell people that, they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Eleanor's got several not several. You've got more than one One Direction tattoo, right?
I have
3.
Right
now. Yeah.
More are in the works.
I, on the other hand, couldn't name those men from Joe, to be honest. I mean, probably now I could, but
That is not true. Kalina could name at least 2 if I put a gun to her head.
Not the same 2 every time, though.
No. Mm-mm.
I know Zayn. I liked him. And they were boys in a band. That's my list of facts.
That's true. Just so you know, I know you don't think we're lying to you, but just so you know, I did my undergrad thesis on One Direction, and I will likely be doing my master's thesis on One Direction. So, and if things go well, I will be doing my doctoral thesis on One Direction, and I'm still trying to think of a One Direction doctor pun. I've workshopped a few. I don't love any, so please leave me some ideas in the comments. I feel like a content creator.
Yeah, it just doesn't go well. Does the world
That's
need a
fair.
Dr.
I
Seuss
think
on One
everybody is
Direction?
hoping it doesn't go well at this point. But anyway, Kalina, do you want to go roughly by timeline or
Did you tell
by
me what we were doing?
person? Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said we were ranking One Direction scandals. Yeah, I did. I did. I'm on top of this.
Okay.
You heard it.
Anyway, what are my options?
We can go roughly by time it happened, or we can go by person. I picked one for each.
Let's do chronological.
Okay.
Might be easier to follow.
All right. Quick disclaimer, Kalina and I are not experts. Kalina and I, as we said before, went to school for media for 3 years, so we know a tiny bit about what we were talking about. We both are interested in pop culture as a phenomenon and like fandoms and whatnot. But as always, we don't know what we're talking about, so if we're wrong, that's your fault.
Because fact-checking's for suckers, and we don't believe them.
Okay, so this first one, just a quick, I don't know if it requires like a content warning or whatnot, but we will be talking about like a big age gap in a relationship. So if you don't like that, don't go away.
Skip ahead. I don't know how to do timestamps right now, and I'll be honest, I don't have the time to do timestamps on this particular episode. So I say skip ahead like 10 minutes.
Yeah, skip ahead 5 to 10 to 15 minutes.
That's like the whole episode, pretty much.
Yeah.
Skip ahead 5 minutes.
Anyway.
We'll check back in.
Yes. So this is probably, so I don't want to say, it was the first scandal that happened chronologically, but I don't think people really got upset about it until recently. And it is Harry Styles and his relationship during the X Factor. So, allegedly, officially, this relationship didn't begin until Harry was 17, which I believe 16 or 17 is the age of consent in the UK, so legally kosher. Morally, spiritually, Harry dated it.
Get down to brass tacks of legally this is okay. I already don't like it.
When Harry Styles was 17, he dated a 32-year-old. Don't love that. She was the presenter for the the bonus show. It's called the Extra Factor. And they met through that. Quick side note, I'm not going to be saying her name because she is no longer alive, and I just don't think it's necessary to further attach her to this. I'm sure if you wish to, it is easy to find out. I just don't want to.
Is she the Love Island lady?
Huh?
Is she the Love Island lady?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So
I still don't like it, but things are happening.
So, the woman, she said at one point in an interview that she didn't feel bad about the relationship because A, nothing bad came out of it, and B, she always felt 18. And I'm fairly certain she got famous pretty young. I don't think 18 young, but like probably early 20s at most. And I have heard that allegedly you kind of, at least mentally, sort of stop aging at the time at which you get super famous because it kind of messes with your head, which I feel like makes sense. But also, maybe don't date a 16-year-old about it. Just like date somebody who also got famous around the same time.
They're not hard to find.
They're really not. Other notable older women. Oh, also, just side note, this kind of catapulted the womanizer image for Mr. Harry Styles, which I think is a little bit funny because I feel like he's also the member that most people think is gay, and
hey,
you can't be both.
That. Yeah, I think it's a really weird thing. I think like media does. I noticed this when we talked about Friends. And if you look at Joey's obviously the womanizer character in that show, but also they make the most gay jokes about, like, obviously they make them about Joey and Chandler for the most part, but Joey is usually the butt of the majority of the jokes, like when he had a purse and when he like wore lipstick. And I think
his eyebrows.
And his eyebrows, yeah. So like, I think one, it's a good way to like, I guess if you're jealous of someone who's a womanizer, it's a good way to put them down. But also too, I think if you look at it like maybe the things women are interested in is not a big old macho man. Just a suggestion. I could be wrong, but like it's like I just find in media those two are usually put together. You're a womanizer, but also you're gay, and like Elanor said, that doesn't really make any sense. You gotta pick one. I mean, it could be both technically, but like.
No, I think like if you want to get technical, you could be like a bi icon and be a womanizer.
Exactly.
You can
like,
be a lesbian and be a womanizer.
Yeah.
Also, like, the whole idea of a womanizer is kind of weird, and I don't really like it. But anyway, I made a list of other notable older women that Harry Styles was allegedly linked to. I'm also not going to use their names, but this time it's because I didn't write them down. One was a radio presenter. She was the same age as the first one, so she was also 32. She was married, and her husband said that he blamed Harry for it entirely because
the 17-year-old.
I'm a little bit unclear as to what it is, but I think it might be the whole fact that they got divorced. But I mean, if all it takes is a pretty 17-year-old for your marriage to crumble, maybe you didn't have a solid foundation.
Yeah, I don't get the idea of like blaming. Also, let's blame the kid, literally.
Yeah.
Blame the child.
I mean, even like when the other person isn't underage, like maybe it's not their fault that your spouse stepped out on you.
Yeah. Like, even
Just
if they
suggestion.
knew, which I think is horrible if you knew, and you help someone cheat, but at the end of the day, the other person who was in the relationship had to be like, yeah, this is cool for me to do for the the mistress or whatever you want to call it, to be like, yeah, this is cool too.
Yeah. You can't
Do that.
There's a Maren Morris song where she's like, I don't know, she says something about how you can't break a house if the foundation's really good. And I don't think the foundation was great here. So 1 point for Maren Morris, who I can talk about because she did a song with Niall Horan, so it's related to One Direction. And also that wasn't the rule for this episode. I'm just making things up.
That was the rule for the episode.
That's true. It is now. You can only bring up people if they're related to One Direction. Kalina will last 2 seconds.
Oh, no, I meant the making things up was the rule for just every episode.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. Also, allegedly, the main woman, the woman he was in a relationship with during the X Factor, was called a pedo and a perv. And it's not nice to scream at people from the street when they are just minding their business. But,
they're not wrong. Listen,
side note.
I have a big thing about like dating underage people. Like my mom and I get in arguments all the time about it, and not that she's like, yeah, you should date kids, but like, like 17, when like they're 17 on the cusp of 18, and like let's say the person's like 25 or something, she's like, that's fine. No, I don't think that's fine. That's a child. What do you have in common? What do I have in common with the 17-year-old? Nothing. I'm 21. So I even now, I don't know what I'd have in common with the 30-year-old.
I think, in general, I think going by, this is gonna sound like life stages is more important.
Yeah.
Like, maturity level and where you are in life. But, if you're over the age of 18 and 6 months, you are never going to have anything in common with a high school student unless you are a super senior. And if you're a super senior, sort that out first before you start dating freshmen.
I said,
just an idea.
I'll give you maybe 19. Now, I don't think a 19-year-old should be dating, a 14-year-old. But, a 19 and a 17-year-old, I will give you.
If they went to the same high school, there are definitely
if we were,
a little
the same
bit...
groups. Yeah, it's also weird when you all have, And, like, you don't have to have everything in common with your partner, but it's also weird when, like, there's an age gap and then also you two don't do anything together where you would have, like, met naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, like, for the most part, also, side note, the whole idea of, like, waiting for somebody to turn 18, also weird, also creepy, also don't like that.
Yeah. Anyway, in case you're wondering where we stand on that topic.
Yeah, just, like, date people within 3 years of yourself that you have things in common with. Once you're past 28, I think, like, 25, maybe, you can date anybody, however much older they are, because, like, at that point.
And, like, I'm not gonna judge on age gaps. Like, my parents have a big age gap, and, like, I don't think it makes a difference. But I agree.
Also,
like, going down is a tricky. It depends on how old you are, but like going down in age when you're dating is I think it's a weird spot.
I think Kalina and I's parents have the same, like, 13, 14 year age gap, but also they both met at work where they were all four of them. They didn't know each other, but all four of them were, like, working professionals for the same company, you know, full-time job.
They were adults,
living
not fresh
alone.
out of high school.
Yeah, they weren't 18, and one was 30, and the manager at a Taco Bell. Anyway, other hot hits under this same sort of umbrella. During the X Factor, Zayn was linked to dating an older woman. He was 18 and she was 24. She was also a contestant on the X Factor, just to add another layer of drama. Also, Liam Payne, our problematic. He dated a 19-year-old when he was 26. And right before that, when I think he was like 24 maybe, he dated somebody who was at least 10 years older. So, at least it's not a pattern.
It's not like a type. He just does not care about age.
It's not a type.
If you consistently date people who are a lot younger than you, that's a type. But, like, if you just date people both older and younger than you, then you're just like, man, whatever. But also don't date a 19-year-old. Just a suggestion.
Yeah. And
24 and 34 is not too bad.
No, 24 and 34, again.
You've lived some life. And, like, he obviously got famous fairly early. So, like, he's definitely lived.
Yeah, I'm not sure her actual, like, age difference. And also, they have a full kid together. So I'm assuming at some point something went well. But, yeah, so that's kind of the biggest. Also, notable Harry Styles scandals. I think he posted a photo of himself in, like, a Native American style headdress. And when everybody was like, don't do that, he deleted it, but I'm unsure if a statement was ever made. Not cool. I think at one point there was talk of him being a Zionist, but let me make sure that's the right word so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, a Zionist, so, like, an Israel supporter. But I think that's just because he had a friend who was Jewish. Like, I granted, I'm not 100% caught up on this one. I researched it a little bit for my thesis. I think he just had a friend who was Jewish. But, like, also, not to get political, maybe read more before you make a full statement. And if you're really popular, maybe calm down about divisive things like that. Because, or don't, or talk about whatever you want. Just, you know, be aware that if you do that, not everyone's gonna like it. Moving on swiftly, this one put me on a watch list. This next one, not a, I mean, maybe that one did too, but, like, this one put me on a watch list. So this is our Niall Horan scandal. I do have to admit, I couldn't find much. And by couldn't find much, I mean I have been in this fandom for oh God, 10 maybe years, and homeboy has not done much in way of scandals, which is good, but doesn't make for great content. Perhaps consider that.
Elanor and I are cooking up a scandal over here.
Yeah, I'm sure if they dug at least 3 months, they could find one. Yeah. We say things all the time. Okay, Kalina, you ready?
I'm prepared.
You are a Japanese teenager in Japan. It's only important that she's Japanese because this took place in Japan, okay?
Oh, okay. Nope, you lost me.
You're with your sister, and I guess you're just walking around a hotel because One Direction was rumored to be staying there. I'm not really sure why they were in the hotel. Okay? Alright. So, you hear banging on the wall, and a man with an Irish accent saying a whole bunch of obscene words and yelling.
Okay, I'm acting it out for you.
Oh my goodness, it's Niall Horan violently playing with himself. I don't know if they actually saw him or if they just assumed that that's what was happening based on the ambiance that was created in the hotel. But that's his biggest, that was his biggest scandal, I think. There was also a point at which he called a group of fans a shower of C words. But he said it affectionately.
Irish. I was gonna say Irish.
The American media did not find it affectionate.
Irish people just say that to you, and they mean it with all the love in their heart.
They truly do. Important. Context is very important, but not to the tabloids.
No.
Those were his main 2 scandals. I might be misremembering, but I think at one point, for some reason, a good portion of the fandom thought that Niall Horan was like a good virginal Catholic boy, and so this violent self-love incident rocked a lot of people's worlds. But also, it's impossible to be a virgin, so I don't know why they thought that.
Anyway, there's our scandal, so...
No, I just think that's true. Also, when I was Googling Niall Horan scandals, A, nothing came up. B, one of the first things that came up is that apparently the other members of the band used to just lie and make up stories about people Niall have hooked up with to generate press about them, which I think is hilarious. And I think we should start doing that. Kalina slept with The Rock.
Very carefully. That's your first choice.
Yeah.
Could have picked someone closer in my age range. I just went on a whole age gap.
No, Kalina, we just talked. Yeah, exactly. I'm making you a hypocrite at the same time.
I'm sorry you all had to find out this way.
It's okay. I slept with Jeffree Star.
That explains a lot. I don't think
anyway,
we're gonna have any more episodes after this.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, that was in 2013. I don't remember when the calling fans names incident was, but that was kind of it. Niall Horan, I think, has been fairly unproblematic. Good for him.
He likes the Eagles. Of course he has been unproblematic. You can't be problematic and like the Eagles. That's just a fact. Prime example, me. Unless you were a fan of the Eagles while they were the Eagles, and then I definitely think some drugs might have been involved, and you could be problematic.
Hey, you can do drugs and be unproblematic.
You can.
For example,
just saying the chances aren't as high.
Okay.
One of those parts is not true, so I'll let you figure out which one.
Moving on. How are we feeling so far, Kalina?
Pretty good. So far, it's mostly age gap is what I've got here. I'm making notes. The rest don't really seem like that big of a deal. It just seems like stupid things the media took and ran with, so.
Okay. This next one. Kalina and I both took a quiz about what One Direction scandal we are. We got the same answer, and it was this one. This one also, my favorite. This one happened in 2014 in Peru, and it involves Zayn and Louis Tomlinson. And what happened was Zayn and Louis Tomlinson were in the back of a van. I am unsure where they were driving. They were either driving to a concert or driving like to the airport to get on a plane and then go to another concert. Not 100% sure. A concert was involved. That's shocking. That's their job. And a 5-minute video came out, was leaked. It was Louis Tomlinson mostly filming Zayn. And they were smoking marijuana. I know, teenage boys.
Oh, what are you gonna do with them?
So there's the worst thing to come out of this, besides the fact that they did that, which, I don't know why people were shocked about and also get over it. There is some speculation as to whether or not Louis Tomlinson said the N-word. If he did, it was the first 3 words of it. The official transcript from thedailymail.co.uk says that he did. I watched the video. I'm not 100% sure. I am also, like, kind of deaf. If he did, he is white. That is bad. Don't do that.
I feel like that lesson has to get taught at least once a week, unfortunately. Not just by us, just in general on the internet. I feel like that lesson is gone over weekly. Mm-hmm. Different person every time, too.
Yeah. Sometimes the same person more than once. And
yeah. I don't know which is worse.
Like, you shouldn't do it in the first place, but I don't know how you don't learn the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so basically, in the car, it's them 2, and then 2, I guess, members of security, and then the driver, and then somebody who I think was just there to make sure they didn't break too many laws. I think, other than the possible N-word situation, the worst part of it is that Louis Tomlinson calls the police the po-po, and he counts, like, each po-po they pass, as in, 2-1, or 2-0, we're winning because they didn't catch us. Despite the fact that, according to all 6 articles I read, weed's pretty much legal in Peru. So, like, you weren't really pulling one over on anyone.
I think Elanor and I should get someone who makes sure we don't break too many laws. I don't think we do, but I think we could if you left us together for too long.
We get close enough that it might be helpful.
Yeah. Also a fact checker. We definitely need a fact checker.
Also, Zayn's wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt, and he talks about Kid Rock for most of it, which is questionable. The main takeaway of the video is that their babysitters did not get paid enough. Like, at all.
I don't think you can get paid enough to babysit teenage boys.
Who
also probably have big heads. No fault of their own, but, like, definitely have big heads.
I'm just gonna give you my quick little recap. I did take notes during this 5-minute video. I did regret it about 5 seconds in. The opening quote is, "Here we are, leaving Peru, joint lit, happy days." Which, calm down. I talked about the Bob Marley shirt. I talked about the fact that Louis Tomlinson calls the police the po-po. Zayn makes fun of Stockholm Syndrome, the One Direction song, not the syndrome.
Oh, okay.
Which I feel like is an important distinction, because at first I just wrote down Zayn makes fun of Stockholm Syndrome, and then I read that and I said, he did what? We're good.
That's what I said.
Don't worry. Louis Tomlinson puts on a very bad, like, nature documentary narrator voice, and it is very bad. I know I said that twice. That's because that's how bad it is.
Was it at least funny? Or was it just so bad it transcended?
It's a teenage boy trying too hard. The whole video is teenage boys trying too hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from the first, like, I don't think you need to, like, tell the people you're smoking with that you're smoking. I just feel like they get
also, it was very funny. They're, like, babysitters produced the joints out of nowhere. I guess they can be trusted to have their own.
No, it's like,
but
you're not gonna wait
they were allowed to light the joints themselves.
I wouldn't have let them. I would have given them the joint. I wouldn't have given them access to a lighter. I would have held on to the lighter.
I honestly would have given them like one edible a day, and that's all they get. Pace yourselves, or like hide it under your tongue, like you're in a bad prison movie, and stock up for the weekend.
We know how edibles work.
You know, maybe you just, like, it's a brownie wrapped in plastic and you just put the whole thing.
No one's gonna be able to tell.
No. It's only for, like, the 5 minutes that you walk from your babysitter's room to... I'm sure those men have, like, real job titles and they don't appreciate being called babysitters. But for all intents and purposes, that's what they were. Their job was to hang out with a boy band. They were babysitters. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Other notable... One Direction, or other notable Zayn and Louis Tomlinson scandals. Let's see, I didn't take any notes for this one. I'm just flying off the seat of my pants. People didn't like that Zayn was brown, but that's not his fault, and they should have gotten over that. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, not surprised.
Yeah. One time he tweeted #FreePalestine, and he got such bad death threats he had to deactivate his Twitter. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Let's see. I think Louis Tomlinson, the only thing coming to mind for Louis Tomlinson isn't things that he's done, but rather, like, things people have said about him. And same for Zayn. I cannot think of any other big ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kalina, do you have any?
No, I just think people didn't like him because he was brown. That was my main takeaway from the whole shebang.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is true. And I've saved our best for last. Mm-hmm. Liam Payne. There are about 3 or 4 big scandals with him. They're all kind of weird, so I picked kind of the most normal one. The weirdest, I think, was that he got in trouble for standing on a building with no railing. He tweeted a photo of himself standing on a very high building, and then everybody was like, how dare this role model, who was definitely just a teenage boy, stand on a tall building and post it where my daughter has access to see it. But
I think that's just on the other people, not on him.
Yeah, also, like, just make sure that your very high buildings with no railings don't have access. Because, it's not that he's Liam Payne, it's that he's a teenage boy and they will do anything if they're either drunk enough or bet anything. Yeah. Anything.
Mm-hmm. Bet you won't is the worst words you could say to a teenage boy.
Mm-hmm. Also, the worst words you could say to Kalina.
Yeah, yeah, don't say that to me. It'd be bad for everybody involved.
There was that. There was one time... Oh, yeah, there was the whole thing about dating a 19-year-old, but, like, whatever. We already talked about that. I think Louis Tomlinson might have peed off a building one time. I think he might have done that. I also might be making something up.
He's not special. I'm pretty sure lots of boys have done that.
I'm pretty sure I've tried to pee off a building because it just seems like fun. Anyway, back to Liam Payne.
Building. I don't feel like I should have had to say that sentence.
Hey, Kalina.
Yes, ma'am. Nope, don't say it.
Won't.
Nope, I'm not listening. I'm not listening.
Okay. Liam Payne, also, one time he tweeted, "It's a snake habitat, turn around," which wasn't really a scandal, was just kind of funny, because people were crowding all up on their hotel room or their hotel building, but it was next to a snake habitat. Let's see. In his solo career, Liam Payne hyped up an EP or an album, and then a little bit before it was... This one I don't know if I have the details right, but like before it was supposed to come out, he said, "Just kidding, I broke up with my girlfriend, now I have to rewrite all the songs." Which is fair. I think he like officially blamed like life changes made him reflect his music or something. But like what happened was he broke up with his girlfriend and then he didn't want to release an album of love songs.
Look, make bank off of your heartbreak.
Oh,
so you already did the work, like, just...
Yeah. And, like, you didn't know COVID was going to happen, but COVID was going to happen. You wouldn't have to tour it. Anyway, Liam's big scandal. Homeboy has been accused of homophobia one too many times, I will be honest. Just a titch too much. The main thing happened around 2015, but in 2014, he tweeted out that he liked Duck Dynasty, which was a show on, I think, like TLC or something, about this very southern family, and the main homeboy of the family, the patriarch, if you will, said that if you let gay people marry, it's a very slippery slope to letting people marry and consummate the marriage with animals, which not true, in case you were wondering. And also apparently, so I believe the wording was that he liked their family values. And in his mind, what that meant was, I like that they're a family and talk to each other. But everybody was like, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't say it like that. Maybe pick a different family. And he apologized. He was like, that's crazy. I'm not homophobic. I just like that they're a family. And then in 2015, during a concert, he said, it was something along the lines of, I like this song that we're about to sing because it's about finding your perfect girl. And I'm sure most of you in the audience won't relate because you're girls as well. Well, I'm sure there are a few boys in here, and then proceeded to sing a song. And,
he was trying his best.
The vibe I get from a lot of these, like, homophobia scandals are that Liam Payne is just an old grandpa who means well but has never met a gay person.
I don't think he's, like, purposely excluding them. It just sounds like he genuinely just didn't think about it.
He just, like, forgets they exist. Yeah.
Which is, like, also not great, but, like, that's not
better
as intentional.
Than being bigoted.
Yeah.
It's also a little bit, it's not funny. And if you were hurt by his statements, I'm very sorry. And we believe that everybody deserves to feel loved and respected during most points of their life. But, like, also it's a little funny. The article I found, one of them, was titled, Liam Payne is not homophobic, and here's his Twitter rant to prove it. And that's basically Liam Payne in a nutshell.
Yeah, you can't... It's like when they're like, you can't use a word to define a word. You can't accuse someone of something and then use their own backtracking to defend them.
Well, his Twitter rant was a little bit... It was like 20 tweets, and it just boiled down to... but he was just, like, very defensive. He was like, how dare people call me homophobic? I love gay people. Sure, I said that one homophobic thing that one time, and that other time, and that other time, and in 5 years, I'm gonna release a biphobic song, but you don't know about that yet, so in conclusion, if you're gay, that's fine, I'm not homophobic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can use other things they said, but I don't think you can use, like, let's say you have scenario, like he's talking about specifically about what happened on stage. You can't use him defending himself or what happened specifically on stage. Now you can use other comments he's made in the past, but like, obviously,
Nope.
if
I
he
think
does
once
something,
you have more than one Twitter rant about not being homophobic, that's fair game. Because this was not his first one.
well, yeah,
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Also, he did, in 2015, he did an interview with Attitude, which is a gay publication, a magazine. And in the interview, I will admit, this one was taken out of context, but with people who are not, at least people without a working knowledge of the One Direction fandom, it could very easily get warped, as it was. Liam Payne talks about how I don't know what, it drove him nuts, was his words, that people bring rainbow flags to concerts. Which is a weird statement to make.
Yeah.
But this was right after he was asked a question about the whole Larry Stylinson thing. And Liam's thinking was, I don't like it when people bring rainbow flags specifically to support that conspiracy theory, which I think is a fair take. I just think, yes, Kalina.
When did One Direction break up? Or go on hiatus? I apologize.
Okay, so Zayn left One Direction March of 2015. The Facebook post was let me find it.
I know your birthday was involved.
Yeah, so Zayn left the day before my 16th birthday. I think it was only a couple months later, because they had to finish a tour, because I know they toured without Zayn. So it was Zayn left, they finished, I think it was just like one leg, I think it was just the American leg of a tour, and then they announced that they were going on hiatus, an 18-month hiatus, which was roughly 6 years ago.
Well, none
Still
of them
waiting.
have math degrees.
Still got
you
hope.
can't blame them.
That's true.
They're singers.
Not
you know,
all of
they're
them
not
finished high
academics.
school.
Yeah.
I don't think Harry Styles finished high school, so like...
Yeah. They're singers. They're not academics. We'll forgive them. They're counting real slow.
That's true. But anyway, yeah, I don't think it's fair to take anybody in One Direction, or anybody's really, comments about a conspiracy theory and apply it to like wholesale to a situation.
Yeah.
That one, I will say, not Liam Payne's fault. The other ones, kind of Liam Payne's fault. I think, also just as a whole on the band, they have been accused of plagiarism a couple times because apparently a lot of boy bands do the same thing. I'm not saying that they didn't plagiarize, but like a lot of boy bands do the same thing.
Yeah. I think boy bands are also very formulaic, so like you're bound to encounter that issue.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna step on some toes.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. They canceled what I believe was their only date in Northern Ireland, or perhaps it was their first concert in Northern Ireland. I'm not 100% sure, but they canceled it like day of because of, quote, food poisoning. But what happened is Liam was really sad about a girl. Which, that's fair.
No offense, but I'm not liking this guy a lot.
I have a lot of thoughts about Liam Payne, and we're already at 45 minutes, so we can't get into it. But long story short, he deserved better, but also as fans, we deserve better. Which sounds bad, but also it's fine to not pursue music and like a solo career after you leave a boy band that was like, by all accounts, a very hectic and toxic environment to be in for 5 years with no break, you don't need to feel pressured to jump back into music, especially when the music is bad. And also, it's not only that it was bad, it was that he and Louis Tomlinson wrote most of One Direction's like final 2 albums, and the songs were good, and the vocals were good. So we know Liam Payne has the ability to make and write and sing good music. And then he came out with,
He just stopped?
Drake, but if Drake were white? But, like, bad Drake if Drake were white?
Drake's already white is the problem.
No, Drake's...
Like half white?
Well, he's mixed, but, like, I'm sorry. I will rephrase. If Drake was painfully white.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying it's already bad because Drake's already kind of white, so, like...
Yeah, he's Canadian. That messes with somebody.
What did he say? He's bluish? He's black and Jewish?
I think so.
That's my favorite, or one of my favorite, like, descriptions of people. That and, no, bluish. Bluish is, I think, number 1.
I'm sorry, what word are you saying?
Bluish. You're black and Jewish.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, that's what I thought you were saying. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
We're on the same page, yeah. What was I gonna say? Because I'm friends with Elanor, a lot of One Direction stuff pops up on my, not so much anymore, but when we were together in Ireland, a lot of One Direction stuff popped up on my like Instagram Explorer, and so every once in a while I'll still get something. And I think the reason I decided I didn't like Liam Payne is because someone was like doing the math of one of his girlfriends, and the math they did was like they started.
You can never do the math.
Math when she was 17, and I was like, nope, that's. I sent it to Elanor and I said I have some questions, and Elanor ignored me.
Side note, to make it even more fun, they actually first met when I believe she was 15 because she went to a One Direction meet and greet.
Yeah.
They didn't, like, do anything, but, like, it's kind of weird.
And, like, I already think dating a fan of yours would be odd. Like, I think it's fine to do it, but, like, there's definitely a dynamic there that you can't get rid of.
You definitely have to be very careful. And, like, I'm more in the camp of don't do it. But I'm sure there's a good way to do it. But, not if you're Liam Payne. Anyway, I think that's everything. It definitely is because my computer's about to die. So, we might lose Kalina.
Okay.
Please check our Twitter and or Instagram for our full ranking because this is going to be too long if we have to get into an argument about that.
Well, I'll pick my number 1 because I have it already.
Oh,
it's
okay.
The Weed Van one.
That's called. It's either called Weedgate or The Car Video, depending on your source. Weedgate's funnier.
Just because I think that had enough elements of actually being like their fault. It was something they did. But also enough of that was just something people had no business being that mad about. The N-word thing.
That's my favorite too.
I will give it that. I'll give you that if he did say the N-word. But like, if not, taking that out of the scenario, number 1.
All right. Please cast your votes in the comments in the ether.
Oh yes. Also, I wanted to say I read this article today about how that podcast Call Her Daddy, right? I think that's what it's called. I think it's like the number 5 podcast on Spotify. She just signed like a 3-year deal, and it's the number 2 female podcast on Spotify. And obviously, we produce very similar content. So I think if you guys could bump us up to number 3 female podcasts, just a suggestion. So hit that like button.
I'll take a number at this point.
I definitely think we have a number.
I will take a number that's 4 digits or fewer. I think. So, I think that's our goal right now. I think we should.
Button.
Yeah.
Follow us on TikTok. We're very funny, and follow us on.
We are.
Don't quote us on that.
By
also
we mean Kalina is very funny.
Eleanor's funny. I'm just really funny on TikTok. And follow us on Instagram. I'm also really funny there. And then follow us on Twitter at Don't Quote Us 27, where we're both very funny. And follow us here, obviously.
Obviously. Here being wherever it is that you're watching, listening,
we're not fussy.
Consuming.
The numbers help us.
Thank you. Next week we might talk about One Direction again if I can dig up something bad from Kalina's past and hold it over her head.
We might not be here at all. Not because of that. It's an unrelated thing, but that's not helping.
No, it's not. Okay. Thank you.
I've been Kalina.
Good night. I have been Elanor.
Peace. One day we'll have outro music, but like, not today.